From the heart of Georgetown, Guyana, comes a story of unparalleled resilience and determination. Carlotta Cora and Eversley Gabrielle's journey from a nursing assistant to a dedicated nurse with a master's degree is nothing short of extraordinary. Her unwavering faith and perseverance have guided her through personal traumas and adversities, including the heart-wrenching loss of a child. In I Rise, Carlotta shares her profound life story, bringing authenticity and a deep sense of compassion to every page. Through her unique experiences, she illuminates themes of faith, struggle, perseverance, and the profound impact of grace in her life. Carlotta's narrative is not just about surviving hardships, but thriving through them, turning pain into purpose. As a nurse, Carlotta has dedicated her life to caring for others, embodying compassion and empathy in her work. She has been a beacon of hope and a source of strength for many, leading by example and inspiring those around her. Her story reflects her commitment to positive change, demonstrating how one person's journey can uplift and empower others. I Rise is more than a memoir. It is a heartfelt journey that touches hearts, inspires minds, and uplifts spirits. Carlotta's legacy is one of hope and inspiration, reminding us that within every struggle lies the potential for transformation and strength. Her words encourage readers to find their inner resilience and to believe in the power of grace and perseverance. Discover the transformative power within every struggle, and let Carlotta Gabrielle's story remind you that strength and grace lie within us all. Through her story, Carlotta seeks to motivate, empower, and encourage, proving that no matter the challenges we face, we have the ability to rise above them and create a legacy of hope and inspiration.
Life have certain things that have to bear the condensation that will bring out of you what you need to be because of what comes with it. Good night, each and every one of our tribe, our community, and our village, the August platform of the Conversation platform. I always say that it's the Walmart of social media. The Conversation Motivational Hour, the Conversation Motivation Hero to Hero TV family, the Conversation Together We Will Rise Ministry, the Conversation Small Merchandise Community. I want to say welcome to our tribe, our community, and our village. Our love language is simply value. We believe in the cyclical nature of value. Where we value, you value us, and together we all value each other. You're in the penthouse under the bridge, we value you. You have a job, don't have a job, we value you. Have money, don't have money, we value you. Whether you're happy or you're sad, we value you. Married or divorced, we value you. Have children or not, we value you. We value you. And then wherever you are, this morning, just away. Probably now this morning or you're happy, we still value you. With that being said, tonight, I have the amazing Samantha Brown, who is now a family of the Conversation. I always say for the five first minutes, you are a guest. But after the first 5 minutes, you're family.
That's
So
right.
Samantha Brown with me tonight, and want to let you know she's not Samantha Brown only, but she is an attorney and an attorney at law, Samantha Brown. And tonight we're going to do part two, rewrite your story. We want to ask you the simplest or the smallest of pleasantry, and that is to share this podcast. You may say, who I should share it with? You get your boss, sweetheart, your baby, your honeycomb, your main squeeze, your BFF, your best friend, your husband, your wife. Even you may have some frenemies and enemies. Just share this podcast because everyone tonight will leave with some nuggets that will help
That's right.
to write something on the canvas of their life that they will end with a new direction. Because the definition of authority is doing the same thing of insanity and expect a different result. Too long you are writing the same script. Too long you have the same story. And for those even in the church, too long you have the same testimony because you're doing the same thing, not yielding the results that can see that you are growing, you are evolving, you're matriculating. And tonight we want to make sure, because of love, because of our care, because of our value for you, we could be on the mall, we could be at the seawall, we could be on the
Yes.
we could have some popsicles making right now, I stickle making some Corilla and beef right now. But we choose the time to come to you because we believe that we can able to motivate, inspire, to help you to be the best you can be with a greater story. Tonight, once again, there is one thing I want to leave it to you before I hand over to my beautiful, amazing co-host. That you can be liked. And we all like to be liked by persons, family members, church family, those in our community, my neighbor like me, my friends that like me, and so on. And
Mm-hmm.
be where you are liked, but it's different to be where you're valued. So tonight you may have a likable story, but tonight will help you to understand how you can be valued above liking, because the light bulb's gonna go on tonight, and you're gonna have the sight to see life in a different periphery. You see, the Bible said they that have eyes to see. God didn't say they didn't have eyes, but all of us have eyes, attorney, but all of us
That's
don't
right.
see, and all of us
See,
see things likable, but all of us do not see things valuable. So tonight,
that's right.
surround our podcast tonight, intellectually capacity, gonna be as we ask ourselves, are you likable in your story, or are you valuable in your story? Is life kept me to be in this domestic violence situation? Is life kept me to
Mm.
be in poverty? Is life kept me to be in isolation? Is life kept me to be lonely? Is life kept me that I don't know what I want? I don't know what is my goal. I sure, because likely you don't know what makes you happy. So tonight in all this, we may not able finish tonight a part two. Whatever we will go to many parts, we're gonna get it to you, because our prize possession is God prize possession, and that's humanity. With that being said, I want to add over to our amazing attorney at law. And I know it's not easy. One, being a female attorney. Two, being an attorney that is melanated. And three, being an attorney that is now evolving into the world center stage. And fourth, being a Christian attorney also. With that being said, Miss Samantha Brown, on behalf of myself and this amazing August platform, I want to welcome you again as we chop it up 10 toes down. I want to tell you, we're going to sink our heels in tonight. We're going to make
That's
sure we speak
right.
to Gen Zs, to the millennials. We're going to speak to the sexy. We're going to speak to all
All
Gen.
sectors.
That being said, I want to hand over and yield the floor to Attorney Samantha Brown.
Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be there again. Part two of Rewrite Your Story, breaking free from limiting beliefs. Listen
Mhm,
to me. The feedback that we received on part one, from part one,
mhm.
was humbling. And I'm excited for part two. And I
Yeah.
know of our viewers, they're excited as well because part two promises to be just as exciting as we journey together to break free. We are
Mhm.
rewriting our stories. Some of us, we're already on the path of rewriting our stories. But guess what? We want others to join with us. This is not a Pastor Seon thing alone. No. This is not a Samantha Wrong thing alone. We
Uh,
all are rewriting the stories. We may have been giving some scripts that have long expired, but tonight we are rewriting those stories. All right. And so it was Dr. Rangan Chatterjee who said, the greatest prison you'll ever live in is the prison you create inside your mind. The greatest prison you'll ever live in is the prison that you create in your mind. And Dr. Edith Eger took it a bit further. All right. And she's a Holocaust survivor as well as a psychologist. And she said the biggest prison is in your own mind. And in your pocket, you already hold the key.
ah,
In your pocket, you already hold the key. And that's what we want persons to take away from this tonight, that you have the key. The pen is in your hands. And what will you write? What will be the story that you're going to write? And even before we venture further into what part two holds, for us to do justice going forward, we need to do some recapping. So if I'll briefly recap on what part one touched on. All right.
mhm,
And so in part one, the center of it was identifying the root of limiting beliefs. Identifying the root of limiting beliefs. And so we touched on the power of perception. We discussed how our perceptions shape our beliefs and our actions, because it starts in the battlefield of the mind. It starts in the battlefield of your mind. And the clarion call was given to us to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We also talked about unlearning limitations. And many of the limitations that we hold fast to, they were taught to us. And so it is important for us to unlearn those limitations. We explore the processes of recognizing and discarding self-imposed limitations, because some of those limitations as well, they may be self-imposed. And so we touched on the intelligent person in contemporary society is the individual who has the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. We also talked about reframing failures, looking at failures not as failures in themselves, but as teachers, as opportunity that would have offered you experiences. All
mhm.
right, and to view failures as learning opportunities. I hope you're triggering someone tonight. We also talk about taking ownership. What part did you play in that story? Whether you were complacent, whether you were actively involved, whatever your part was in that negative story that may have been written about you, our viewers were encouraged to take ownership, to take responsibility, personal responsibility for the shaping of your own narrative. And that was part one in a nutshell. That was part one in a nutshell. Are we ready to delve into part two of rewriting your story? Breaking free from those limiting beliefs. Are we ready? Part two is centered on giving yourself the permission to effect a new self-fulfilling prophecy. Giving yourself the permission, giving yourself the allowances, giving yourself the latitude and the scope to effect a new self-fulfilling prophecy. And Pastor Persis may ask, what is a self-fulfilling prophecy? What is a self-fulfilling prophecy? And I'm here to let you know a self-fulfilling prophecy is a belief or an expectation. And it can be either true or false that influences our actions in a way that causes the belief to come true. So it is a belief or an expectation, and it can be one that is either true or false, a true belief or an untrue belief or expectation, and it influences the actions that we take. And
Mm.
the result of it is actually the fulfillment of that prophecy. Let me give you a breakdown of how it works. So the belief or the expectation can be that you believe something about yourself or your future. And let's look at the negative one. Sometimes we say to ourselves, I'm not smart enough. I'm not smart enough to succeed. So that's the belief, or that's the expectation that you're saying to yourself, you know what, I'm not going to succeed. I'm not good at this. I cannot do this. This is not for me. Who says that? The behavior now, because the belief and the expectation influence your behavior. And so the behavior may be something like this, because the belief shaped your action. So you avoid challenges, thinking that you're not smart enough, thinking that you're not good enough to succeed. You begin to avoid challenges, or you stop trying. And what's the outcome? Not taking the challenges, or that you decide to throw in the towel. Your actions are going to lead to underachievement. And this underachievement will reinforce the original belief that I'm not good enough and succeeding is not my story. Is a student believing that, you know what, I'm not good at math. Mathematics is not my subject. And that may be a story for many of us. Mathematics is not my forte. And the action that the student is going to take is the student is not going to study. The student is not going to go to lessons, because I don't want to be the dumb one in the class. I cannot answer the questions. I'm not studying. And the student is going to second guess him or herself. And what happens? They go and take the test because you failed to prepare. And then they fail the test. And the outcome is not because of a lack of ability. It is because of the belief that shaped their behavior. And so we want to give permission. For many of us, we may be living some self-fulfilling prophecy, some false one, because of what we believe. In the last session, we talked about nature, nurture. Some of us may have been in an environment that didn't nurture us. And so, as we normally say, you can only be a product of your environment. You can only be a product of your environment. You can only go so far and no more. And so when you have the outcome, you begin to tell yourself a lie that this is it for me. But we are going to give ourselves the permission, the okay, to effect new self-fulfilling prophecies. One that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That I am more than a conqueror. That I am the head and not the tail. That I am the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. That is the prophecy we are fulfilling.
And I love when
That's God.
and I love when you say that. And I'm thinking in the preambles, when you talk about the prison of your mind. Tonight, young man, young woman, Gen Zs, millennials, whatever age and stage of your life, every one of us had a story. Your story may be on your face. Your story may be in your hand. Your story may be on your heart. Your story may be parts of your body that are covered by various clothing material.
Right.
Your story may be covered by various adornment of plastic makeup. But you have a story. Your story may be in sleeping. Your story may be in your waking. Your story may be in your journey, and you're living the reality of trauma.
That's right.
Journey, you said that the prison in your mind. And I remember, because I'm zoning in tonight, I want to be a sponge to soak up everything.
Yes.
It was, and I remember you said as that they have the keys to that prison.
That's right.
Tonight, you need to put your mind. Forget about shaming tonight. Thinking about that story. And continuance of my co-host, attorney, with saying this rule of thought, that a broken crayon still color.
That's
So
right.
come roll out your canvas, roll out your.
Mm-hmm.
Why I say canvas and slate? For those who are precede us in terms of age gap. Then roll out
Yes.
your size book, whether it be double line, single line, whatever. Bring your
Or
pen,
your
bring
slate.
your pencil, bring everything that you can. Because
Mm-hmm.
tonight you want to live with a gamut of understanding that you can trend your life, not sinking, not surviving, but thriving. And attorney,
Yes.
and you stop at this point at your product of your environment. More people they in the environment with a story that are likable. People in the environment that like to see them abuse and see that
Mm-hmm.
that's the best environment. They like to see them in poverty because they go through social dependence and you're in a likable
Right.
environment and you feel that's good for you. Your environment that you're just waking up a year after year at the same place. And
Same
you
thing.
think that this environment is best for you. But the environment is not best for you because you need to be in a value environment. You see, Jesus, I come that you may have life. They were living, they were likable. But he said, you know, I want you to have life more abundant to have this valued life attorney tonight. Get somebody to understand the need to get
Mm-hmm.
unlock likability. This body really like me, but where they place you? Think again tonight. Where the years of your environment has really placed you.
Because the Bible also talk about us not serving two masters at the same time.
Mm,
We are going to like one and hate the other. And so I saw this book. I can't remember the author, but the name of it jumped out at me that I really need to get it. And it talk about the courage. The name of it is The Courage to Be Disliked.
mm-hmm,
The courage to be disliked. And sometimes we need to know, as the Bible said to us, Jesus would have told his disciples. He said, look, when you go out, when you are not received, if you are not received in a place, dust your feet off and keep moving. Dust your feet off. Do not settle in that place and keep moving. And so, in the rewriting of your story, sometimes we look around for others to give us validation.
mm-hmm,
And in receiving the validation from others, it means that we have to stay in a very subservient position, in a subordinate place, taking what is given to us, what is being handed to us, and sometimes so begrudgingly. When we have the ability to rewrite our story, that is the impetus I want to leave with us tonight. The push that we are going to rewrite our story. Forget about being liked.
mm-hmm.
Once you know that what you're doing, it is morally correct, it is not morally corrupt, you're not doing anything that is socially or politically immoral, what are you afraid of?
Good.
Sometimes we are afraid of our own light. We're afraid of our own potential. And I'm going to touch on that. We may be so comfortable in our old story. The environment is doing us no good, but this is all that we know. And so the fear of launching out into something new, the fear of the unknown is a real thing, is a
Mm,
real phenomenon. And so launching out can be so daunting at times, but it is a task that is worthwhile taking. And so the encouragement tonight is to break the cycle,
mm-hmm.
replace the limiting beliefs with empowering ones. And for us to say, and for those who are listening, you can repeat, I am growing every day. I am capable of learning and improving. And here how it works. As we rewrite this new, as we give effect to this new fulfilling, self-fulfilling prophecy, it moves from belief. Our belief give rise to our action. Our actions give rise to our new outcome. And this new outcome makes way for our new reality. Be encouraged to move from your new belief to action that will create a new outcome, that will create a new reality. And so that's the introduction. How do we begin to effect this new self-fulfilling prophecy? It creates a courage to pivot.
Mm.
The courage to pivot. If you're going to Georgetown, or those from Georgetown, you're traveling to Barbados, and you are not sure of your direction, but you're on this journey. And while sojourning, you probably put on your GPS or you stop and you ask for direction, and you realize that you are on the wrong route. It means that you have to make a complete turnaround. Because if you know that you're on the wrong route and you're continuing to head in that direction, well, you know you're not going to get where is it that you want to be. If it's Georgetown you're attempting to reach, you will not get to Georgetown. So this is what this is what it speaks about here at this juncture. It is the courage to pivot. What does it mean to pivot? It means to make a deliberate shift in direction. And we know it is illegal to make a sharp U-turn on the road, but it's not illegal to make a sharp U-turn in your life. If I'm heading south, and south is not the direction I'm supposed to be going north, I'm making a sharp U-turn. Whether it is in mindset, whether it is in career, whether it is your relationships, whether it is your habits, the U-turn is necessary in order to better align with your purpose, your values, and your desired outcome. And so it takes courage. Courage is needed to pursue new paths. And so it takes courage to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
It takes courage to pivot because you're saying to yourself, I have to go and start all over again. Maybe I have to go back to because I've gone so far into my journey. There is no a Y fork on the road. So I have to head all the way up back to the junction, and then before I can take that U-turn. And it may seem like an impossible or daunting task. So it requires courage to pivot, but pivot is necessary because remember, you are rewriting. It means there is a writing and it's already there.
Mm-hmm.
But it is one that has given you no justice. It is one that has given you pains. And so you are rewriting. So I'm pivoting. How do I pivot? How do I pivot? Point number 1. Replace self-sabotaging routines. Replace self, because remember, we're taking ownership for the part that people have played and the part that we are playing. So we are replacing these self-sabotaging routines. We may be so caught up in a vicious cycle with the daily habits that does not serve our goals. And so we are replacing those self-sabotaging routines. And then also we're distancing ourselves from toxic environments.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, the environment that we're in
Mm-hmm.
nurtured us incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
Did a great injustice to us, and sometimes we have to be separated. So we are distancing ourselves from toxic environment, and we're building relationships that uplift and align with our values. We need people around us who can influence our trajectory. As we are taking this new path, as we are taking the courage to rewrite, to pivot, we need persons who have done likewise to say to us, listen, if I'm in an environment with persons who are dull, who is going to sharpen who?
Mm-hmm.
If I want to get to the deep, I need someone who's already in the deep who can call me deep, call it onto deep. I need someone who can show me the ropes. So we need to distance ourselves from toxic environments and begin to build new network. And then we also need to reconnect with our core values. Deep down within us, listen to me, there is no one who is innately, as sometimes we tend to label persons. There is no one who is innately, unless we have sociopaths and psychopaths, but we leave those determinations for the psychologists. And we don't even want to be labeling persons because we were called as Christians not to judge, but to edify and to build up each other. So I do not believe there's anyone who is innately So evil, so terrible. Because sometimes when we get ourselves in some fixes and conviction hit us, we begin to feel so remorseful, right? And so it is a reconnecting with our core values deep within. We can remember grandmother's words, those values that were taught to us when we were little tiny and going, and we would have wandered off so far. Reconnect with those beliefs, whether it is spiritually or personally, and
Mm,
start living with alignment with your convictions. And you see, we need those convictions. The convictions steer us, and lets us know when we're going off on the wrong path. And so when we have something that we are committed to, conviction will begin to hit us. And we are committed to rewriting our story. So we are replacing self-sabotaging routines. We are distancing ourselves from toxic environments. And we are reconnecting with our core values. But what is the importance of pivoting? Growth doesn't happen without change.
And I love what you said at that point, that growth does not happen without change. And at that juncture, I think we should come to understand the non-negotiable. So in
Mhm.
rewriting the story now, your eyes are open. You've taken accountability. Now you're running. Now you're walking. Now you're somersaulting. Now you're backflipping. All of the lights you're doing
True.
from the place you were before. You have the scar to show because this is your old story. This is the story. The red eye, the bung up face, the twist up body, and all these kind of things.
All the
The
blues and scars.
the firing from the job, the pink slip, the homelessness, the child them will get you in prison and all kind of these are where you're walking from. You have that story. That story is already on record. So tonight you know what is already on record. So tonight
Mhm.
what I want you to do is to stand to the testament now to say that that story no longer me. So you're not what we got used to say in the country was a
Exactly.
that is not me. You know me what I was.
Mhm.
That was my story. That was my story. But today I'm rerouting and I'm pivoting
Mhm.
now because my
That's right.
story now, this broken crayon, gonna still color. I am the head and not the tail. I'm above and
That's right.
I'm a blesser. I'm not cursed. Come on, I'm a giver. I'm not a borrower. I'm
That's
walking
right.
wonders. I'm soaring like an eagle. Oh my God, I am no longer a chicken. I am a fowl. I'm no longer gonna fool up in the car with Dorito and chips. I'm no
Mhm.
longer gonna go behind my door and cry. I'm gonna put on some muscles and the testicular fortitude. I'm gonna walk with a man of purpose, a woman of integrity, because they're gonna be a non-negotiable in me
That's
rewriting
right.
story. There's no longer those low hanging fruits is going to continue following me. Attorney, I want you to help somebody tonight that they can grab a pen, grab a pencil, grab something, because too long they were wallowing in their sorrow. Too long they were
That's right.
just position. Attorney Samantha Brown.
Mhm. And let me say this: pivoting is powerful.
Mm,
Pivoting is powerful because it is an act of courageous realignment. Is a realignment. Choosing to move from what was once holding you back
yes.
to what will cause you to rise. And as Pastor said, to what will cause you to soar with
Mm-hmm.
wings as eagles. It takes courage. And that's what pivoting would do. So now that we would have pivot, all right? And I hope we will be writing our new story, one that requires the courage to pivot, to make a U-turn, a complete turnaround. We need to cultivate the superpower of resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Cultivate the superpower of resilience. And I normally say, in my own little layman term, resilience means bounce back ability. Now that you would have turned, you need to be able to come back from all that would have held you down. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. What you would have, your old story, that is an adversity. Let's make that clear. That's an adversity. And the resilience that you need is the ability to move forward from it, to keep moving forward even when life knocks you down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be truthful. Rewriting your story, it won't be easy. There will be setbacks along the way. There will be doubts. There will be moments where we feel as if nothing is changing. But resilience is the fuel that will keep you going. Resilience is the fuel that will keep you going.
All right, attorney just fell off. She's gonna come back into the studio. While we are in rewriting your story. And I want you to understand tonight that as you pivot, whatever once was your story, I don't know what your story was. I don't know what your situation was. I don't know what your trouble was. I don't know what your was or was. I don't know what you were. But tonight I want to look through the lens that you are capable to be better than what you was. You are capable that your New Testamental life will be greater than your Old Testamental life. I want you to understand tonight that your story, you wear the scars to show, but tonight I want you to understand that you're standing as a man and a woman with the courage, because change take work. Oh yes, it's a hard thing to go to deal with the changes, but I want you to understand tonight that it's important for you to embrace change, because you have no control over change. Oh yes, just get out of the barber shop. Oh yes, 2 hours ago, and I look myself in the mirror, and I'm looking at my facial content. I look much different than I look. Oh yes, a year ago. Oh yeah, because I have no control over the changes of how I look. Bodily changing is taking place. Oh yes, I want to let you understand that you have to go through changes so you can rewrite your story. Kindly let me in, but I don't know how to do this now. Yes, our attorney is trying to get back in. Um, yes. So as you rewrite your story, dealing with the changes, it's hard to embrace changes in terms of getting into the unknown, because the unknown is a place, it's unfamiliar. It's unfamiliar to getting into the unknown. And many people are afraid of getting into the unknown because it's not showing that she said she, okay, now she's there. Yes. The unknown is the place that you're not familiar with. The known attorney, welcome back again. I know you have some internet challenges. Yes. So the known place is where your one story was. The place of the hurt, the place of the pain, the place of the sadness. That is your known story, the place of loneliness, the place of isolation, the place of rejection. That is the place that is so much familiar to you. That is the likable environment. So they place you at the free market and you feel they like you, at least you get a placement.
Mhm.
Backyard, you feel like they like you, at least you get a placement. They give you that clothes that tear up and they give you no new clothes. You still feel at least they give you. They give you a job that way beneath your skill set. You still feel like at least they give me a job because you are that place that is likable and environment for you. And I'm going to hand over to where before we lost our attorney, when she was talking about getting into the unknown. The unknown is helping you to see your value, to see your worth, to see where you can begin to triumph. You see, they hang Jesus high and they stretch him wide. Tomorrow is Palm Sunday, but the story didn't end there because they put him in the ground. But what? He rose from the dead because he had to have a new story. And tonight we want to understand the was a is the was a. You were good to be likable, but look where people like you versus where they value.
Mhm.
I want you tonight to understand likable. Value is greater than likable. Watch where people place you in their life. Look the suggestions. Look the speech. Look how they talk to you. Look the time that they give to you, the attention they give to you. Look in the preferentials when it comes to preferentials. And then you're gonna recognize, wait, I was just like I'm not valued. And I want you to understand you are born to be valued. You are born
Yes.
be valued. Tonight, that's what you wanted to rewrite your story and say, I gotta be valued. I'm not setting no longer for the status quo to be like, to be slapped around, kicked around, to be put anywhere, to be called anything. I want to be valued. I want you to polish me. I want you to wipe me down. I want you to tell me about my greatness. I want you to tell me about the importance. You want to tell me in the eyes of you see me in the trajectory. I want you to help me as I'm rewriting the story or rewriting the story as a community, as a village, as a tribe. And I want to let you know, Attorney Samantha Brown.
That's right. And that's what rewriting your story is all about. Sometimes as we take the task and we're all excited to get started, as I do hope we are encouraged and we are prepped and we are all peppered and ready to rewrite our story and we are motivated. And sometimes in the middle of rewriting that story, motivation goes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And we are there and we're saying, listen, I cannot continue on this. But that's where resilience steps in. Resilience will give you that fuel to keep going. As persons need to know there's a difference between motivation and discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Motivation will get you started, but discipline will keep your feet against the fire, keep your shoulders against the wheel. That even when you don't feel like doing it, because you are so committed to your new story, to
Mm-hmm.
give it effect to your new fulfilling, self-fulfilling prophecy, discipline will keep you grounded. And discipline is partnered with resilience. And so
Mm-hmm.
resilience helps us to persevere through disappointment. Sometimes in rewriting this story, you're going to lose friends. You may lose family members. You're going to lose familiar surroundings because we were taught as we pivot that we are distancing ourselves from toxic environment. And
Mm-hmm.
so you're in an all new world, in a new place, mentally, spiritually, personally. You're at a new juncture in your life. And so perseverance and resilience will help you to persevere through disappointments. Sometimes we set too high a task for ourselves as we know learning to run. And sometimes you have to move like a baby. You have to learn to crawl and creep before you can even walk and run. As you begin to rewrite this story, resilience helps us to adopt when things do not go as planned. When things do not go as planned, and I do not want persons to believe that as you rewrite your story, it will be a beautiful, oh, a euphoria world, a world of nice happenings. There are going to be some turbulent seas, some seasons that will really try you and test your faith, but persevere nonetheless. Resilience also helps us to reframe failure as feedback. That even when you may encounter a failure, you are going to look at your failures as feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Feedback that give you pertinent information as to what went wrong, what can be changed, what new can be done as you continue to rewrite your story and you move forward. And most importantly, believe again. Resilience helps you to believe again after being broken.
Mm.
The fact that you're rewriting a new story, it means that that old story, it broke you. And so, am I worthy of love? Am I worthy of excellence? Resilience will give you that strength, that hope to believe again after being broken. Without resilience, the story ends at the setback. Without resilience, the story ends at the setback. But with it, with resilience, you keep turning the pages. Even through the hard chapters, you keep picking up the pen. As Pastor said, you keep putting the crayon to the canvas. You keep picking up the chalk and putting it to the slate. For those new age babies, you keep typing on the keyboard. You keep turning the pages. Resilient will cause you to keep going and to not give up. And and this scripture, James 1:12, a scriptural reference in all of this. It says, blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trials. Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial. This right here is resilience. When things get rocky, you know what we tend to do? We tend to run back to what we know. When things get rocky, let's be real, we tend to run back to what we know. We have already pivoted. We have already made a sharp U-turn. I need resilience, I need to tap into the superpower of resilience so that I keep taking one step after the other. And so you may have to encounter situation that will cause you to choose. You have two options. It's either you stand and you fight, or you engage in flight. It's either you run back to what you know, or you fight and you keep pressing on and you keep moving forward. Choosing to fight requires you to practice mental fortitude. Choosing to fight requires us to practice mental fortitude, and that is the building up of the strength. Choosing to engage in positive self-talk, daily reflection, or journaling, feeding our mind with the truth and not fear. I'm here to let you know, stay the course. Stand on your why. Remember why you pivoted in the first place. Stand on your why. And God even said to us, behold, I'm doing a new thing. Shall you not know it? When you are venturing on this new path, this is a road that you have never journeyed before. But God says, behold, I'm doing a new thing. And even when you feel as if you're in a wilderness, God says, I am going to make a way in the wilderness. If you feel as if you're in a desert, God says, I will build streams of rivers, streams of water will begin to flow even in your desert. Tap into that power of resilience. I wanted to simmer a bit with us, because if we do not tap into the superpower, if we do not cultivate the superpower of resilience, as we said, without resilience, our story will end at the setback. But we have to begin to rewrite this story. We are not ending there. And another point I want to touch on is cultivating self-compassion. Cultivating self-compassion. And as we introduce self-compassion, for some of us, others may have beaten up on us for so long that we in turn start to beat up on ourselves. But introduce self-compassion. Begin to treat yourself with the same kindness. Treat yourself with the same kindness and the same understanding and patience that you will offer to a friend, especially in moments of failure and disappointment and perceived inadequacy.
Authority, I'm laughing, right? And I want it to feel.
No, we are taking it. Listen, we need humor in this. We
You know
need
what?
humor in this.
I'm laughing when you said the same compassion you give to a friend, you give to yourself. We were taught wrong. And
Mm.
seriously, at this junction now, after humor, we were taught wrong to be broken to make other people whole. We were taught to make people feel they compassionate, but not to be compassionate to ourselves.
To
And,
ourselves.
then when
Mm.
it does not reciprocate to us, we are bitter because we do outside of ourselves expect a reciprocation.
Right.
But really and
Uh-huh.
truly, we were sinning against ourselves. You see, we were taught that
Exactly.
immoral against your body, fornication, adultery, and thief, and those kind of things. But sinning is when you misguide it first to yourself. You see, you can't love somebody if you don't love yourself, you know. But
That's
what
right.
we
That's right.
$100 and give it to somebody, I won't give $100 to ourselves. When we in a financial chokehold and the person give back to we get bitter. But you
Mm.
yourself. Saying you will left our family
Mm.
and somebody else's family. And when we in a chokehold and they ain't come back to our rescue, we get bitter on the premise that this is what I did. But so
Exactly.
give
Love yourself.
as you want to. Over to you, attorney. We're gonna go into overtime tonight. Come on.
That's right. That's right. Love yourself. And that's what we need. And what's the benefits of self-compassion?
Mm-hmm.
It will help us to experience greater emotional stability. And you
Mm-hmm.
hinted on that just now, Pastor. We may be so emotionally unstable because we want to know why the love is not being reciprocated. But we have been called to love others as we love ourselves. So we cannot outlove others and we're leaving our temple
Mm-hmm.
or estate deprived of love. And so, as we practice self compassion, we are going to experience greater emotional stability. There is going to be reduced stress and anxiety. When we constantly beat up on ourselves, saying that, you know what, you're not good enough, you're not pretty, you're not articulate, or you're not the intelligent one, persons don't like you, we are helping. That's when we're engaging in these self-sabotaging routines.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to break it. And as we rewrite this story, we need to give ourselves some love, give ourselves some grace. You need to forgive yourself for things that you would have allowed. Forgive yourself. Self-compassion helps us to shift from I'm failing to I'm learning. I'm
Mm.
not failing, I'm learning. I am growing. As we begin to reduce internal pressure and we're easing the fear. And you know how we can do this? Practice mindfulness. Practice mindfulness. There is this viral statement that is going on, taking social media by storm. And it says, I listen and I don't judge.
Mm-hmm.
What about not judging yourself? We said, oh, we listen and we do not judge. And that's the olive branch that we're extending to others. I'm not going to judge you. What about not judging yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Practice that towards yourself. Practice self kindness. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself as though you are your closest friend.
Mm.
Treat yourself like you are your closest friend. And ask yourself, what would I say to a friend who is going through this? And then, can I say this to myself?
Mm-hmm.
Can I say this to myself? Instead of keep saying, you know, girl, you stupid, I can't believe it. What would I say to a friend? And sometimes it requires us to literally write it. If it is that we cannot say it to ourselves, but it's quietly or saying it out aloud, begin to write it. Write some kind motivational letters to yourself.
Mm.
Begin to drop some, and sometimes you can put dates on it, you know. Me, I like to even send myself emails. I will tell you this. Having a very hectic week, I send myself emails sometime in the middle of the day. And I'm all excited to go open my own email. And they say, girl, you have this. You are courageous. You can do this. Tomorrow you have a big day, but you have this. I send emails to myself. Send yourself some nice little letters. Write, begin to journal some nice words to yourself, some comforting words. Understand that what you're going through too is common humanity. Sometimes the enemy can play a trick on us to let us know that we're the only one going through this. No one else have gone through this, and you there in feeling so pitiful and so remorseful for yourself. Telling yourself that, oh my gosh, I'm the only one that this would have happened to. Understand that sometimes failure and said these are universal happenings. It is difficulty is a universal aspect of life,
Mm-hmm.
and all of us go through rough patches. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yours. I cannot overemphasize the importance, because as you begin to rewrite this story, as you begin to learn yourself again, to rediscover yourself, you would want to know why is it I came across this thing like so many years ago, and now it is beginning to take shape, and I can't believe I didn't know this, and I can't believe I did this. And this is where self-compassion is needed. This is where self-compassion. Forgive yourself for those things that you did not know. Forgive yourself even for the things that you knew and you did it anyway. The mere fact that you are at this juncture, it means that, you know what, I'm fully recognizing that there's time for a change. There is time for a change. I'm looking at the time. How are we doing with time, Pastor?
We're doing good. We're doing good. We are going to overdrive. We are going to overdrive because we want people to understand the importance of coming home back to me.
Mm-hmm.
To me is important. While we thinking we are coming to others, some people they thrive on self pity. That is not
Mm-hmm.
coming back to you because of the situation at hand. You thrive when people more pitiful, when people massage you at that place that are low, that place. And I love you said something, Paria, is that go back to the familiar. Moses, I think it's Moses, yes. When he stroked the rock,
Oh, yes.
Moses struck the rock before at that time when it was to struck the rock. It yielded results. But at that time, the people weren't agitated. At that time, the people were complaining. At that time, everybody was on 10, zero down, hands in glove, in sync, in tandem. But at the time when Moses at the pivotal juncture where everybody are agitated, everybody is out in alignment, everybody is going out of whack, and therefore what he do, he went back to the familiar. You see, because at that time he didn't speak, and this is the time you
Mm-hmm.
speak. So, and I love the word that you take me back to the classroom with fight and flight when I deal with depression, stress, and trauma. There's two things people at that split moment is either you fight or you flight. So what happens sometimes we flight back to the familiar, and that's why some people they get killed. Like the woman this week in Guyana, she entertained a familiar, and what happened? She is on the ice board. If we are finito, we done, we still, it's no time for discussion. But she went back to the familiar and
Right.
so we go back to the familiar place. We go back to the familiar person. I just want you, like you try to say, I want to be nice. I want to be good. But you got to
Mm-hmm.
understand, as we say tonight, the non-negotiables. And that where you go back to the place of pain. You go back to the place of frustration. And Moses went back to the place of striking the rock. And he didn't get into the promised land because of the consequences of action. So tonight, attorney, I want you to walk us through in coming back home to me. Coming back home to me is important. Come back to celebrate yourself, date yourself, take yourself to hotel by yourself,
That's
go
right.
to a room yourself, go on a date yourself, go to the restaurant yourself, order a meal for yourself, go on a drive cross country yourself to another state, come back home to yourself. We always in the family, oh, I got to get a best friend with me, I got to get, and you go back sometime, and that night you go back or whatever it is, you go back and ruin even the peace you are now developing. So tonight, attorney, in the abundance of love, just walk us through for somebody tonight that they can understand, come back home to you. Go back to the time when you are enjoying you, the time that you
That's right.
the time of your peace, the time of your happiness, the time of your tranquility, the time of your fun and your frolic. Come back home to you, attorney.
That's right. That's right. And sometimes, as Michael Jackson said in his song, when we're looking for a change and how to change the world, the change starts with us. Look in the mirror, the change starts with us. And if, to touch on when you were talking about Moses, remember the children of Israel. They
Mm,
were in slavery and bondage for so many years, hundreds of years. And when they got free, because they're now in the wilderness, they're in
mm,
a new normal. They
mm,
were so quarrelsome with Moses. You brought us out here to die. Take us back. They wanted the food, even the food they were craving. And for some of us who be writing your story, it doesn't matter what your story may be health wise. You'll be writing a story that is health related.
mm,
And even the food you may be wanting to crave, the food that you know it is against your doctor's order, your doctor's orders. And sometimes we just have to stay committed. But I want to leave us with some actionable steps, actionable strategies to break free. And as we talk about the courage to pivot, we need to one, develop courage. And our courage, it will be evident in the bold steps and the actions that we take. You want to know if you're bold? Look at the actions that you're taking. Forget about being like. Being like got me there in that old miserable story.
mm,
Develop courage. Engage in self-reflection. Engage in self-reflection. And here is where we are going to assess our current situations and we're identifying areas that need change. Remember that the greatest prison that you'll be in is in your mind, but you already hold the key in your pocket. Self-reflection, identify those areas in your life that need change. Set actionable goals.
mm,
Actionable goals. And start small. And sometimes this is why we get so discouraged, not truly assessing our potential. And we're taking it small steps at a time. Take small, manageable steps, moving toward changes. And I normally like to tell persons, set SMART goals. And those who have their pen, we'll touch this quickly. SMART goals. And the stands for specific. Your
mm.
goals need to be specifically tailored. Not fancy. Oh, I want to just have some money. I'm rewriting this story because poverty has been the story of our family for generations. And I'm going to be the generational curse breaker. I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family. And you need to be specific. The M stands for measurable. The goal the goal that you're setting, those goals need to be manageable, measurable. You must have some yardstick that you're using to measure whether you're hitting your targets or not. The A stands for achievable or attainable. Do not go setting goals that you know that you cannot meet. As we say, don't stretch your hand and put your cap high up on the ceiling and stretch your hand where you know you cannot reach. The R stands for being relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot peep over into pastor's canvas and take his goals and write it for me because they're not relevant to my purpose. So your goals need to be relevant to your purpose. And then the T stands for being time bound. You need to put a time period upon which you're estimating that you're going to complete and you're going to work towards completing those goals. So set SMART goals, develop courage, engage in self-reflection, set manageable goals, and then ensure that you have support systems. Remember, as you move away from your old environment, you're building new networks. It is important to ensure that you have supportive relationships. No man is an island. And when you're writing a story, whether it is literal, you need to have an editor, someone who will review and edit that story. And sometimes we need friends who will check us and keep us accountable. You need to have a publisher because
Mm,
you're not writing the story all by yourself. So we need to ensure that we have a very strong, supportive network. You may need to have someone who's doing the cover, someone who's planning your book launch.
mm.
So ensure that you have a circle of supportive and network. Engage in positive self-talk. Positive, change your language. As you change your language of self-compassion, of self-love, look what happens in your life. Replace self-criticism with a forming language. And we can do this daily. We can daily affirm ourselves.
And
This more, I think.
that's so important, attorney. Look at Jesus, right?
Mm,
When Jesus was about to be submerged or immersed, both are the same thing, right? Into water baptism, the heaven opened up because he's not alone. And he had
mhm.
those words of affirmation. He have that words of confirmation to represent heaven tribe, heaven community, and heaven village, and more so the
That's right.
author, the one who is the finisher, the one who is the publisher, the one who everything said, "This is my beloved son." In
Mm-hmm.
please.
I'm well pleased.
So our problem sometimes we do not staff in our life for our success. We place people in wrong positions in our
Woo.
life. Our staffing
Mm.
does not bring success. We staff
Mm-hmm.
wrong. We staff likable people in our lives and not valuable people. So therefore, when they should put us in top shelf, they put us even nobody can see us because
Mm-hmm.
value us, but they liked us. But God didn't, God didn't only like his son, he put value. He said, "This is my beloved,
That's right.
well pleased." So tonight, continue to speak to us and take as much time that we can come back home to ourselves. You see,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that what was could still be now. He said, Jeremiah, before I formed you in your mother womb,
That's right.
you is now know by no mistake, right? Because we were taught wrong that if you come out of wedlock, you're mistake. I don't care if you here. Right? When you come from a side chick, whatever chick you come from, whatever out of wedlock, whatever kind of luck, they didn't think you were ordained by God.
That's right.
Right? So I don't care how you come here. If you come by minibus, you come by Tata bus, you come by boat, you come by plane. I don't care
Ooh.
it's part. You're born under a tree, you're born by the lantern post, you're born by the wharf. I don't care where you're born because it's not no cosmos coincident.
Mm-mm.
Cosmos is not a cosmetic thing. It's not a made-up thing, coincidence that society surprised that you come because I didn't know that this man had a side chick or this woman had a man on this side. Here, God said to Jeremiah, before I formed you. You know, see, I'm saying we think
That's
it's
right.
I formed this child. Me formed the child. The child was lent to me for purpose. So tonight, we want you to come back home to you what was. I don't know what was attorney was. Attorney don't know what I was. But I know what my was. And you know what your was. And tonight
That's
you
right.
back to the authenticness that you come back home to you. And God said to Jeremiah, before I formed you in your mother womb, I knew you. I ordained you because Jeremiah is the
Mm-hmm.
this man had crying this. Right? This man gonna weep. I gotta stay. Let him know that belongs to a community that not gonna like you, not the likables, but the valuables. Attorney, talk
Yes.
to us tonight. That somebody
That's right.
themselves. Talk to us.
And if we can reflect on the story of the prodigal son,
Mm-hmm.
some of us, we may be the prodigal sons and the prodigal daughters in our story tonight. But the word of God said, when he came to himself, he said, I will arise and I will go back to my father.
Mm-hmm.
And we may have wandered so far. And can you turn back? It is never too late.
Mm-hmm.
It is never too late. Once we are breathing, we are living, and we are on this earth, here is where we are making our changes, not in the afterlife. And so the time is now. There is no time like time of being of the essence. Time is now. And we can do it. Come to yourself. And that's why we talk about reconnecting with your core values. Reconnecting. And even if it means that you have to go and unlearn and relearn, do just that. Because there's a story that we all have to tell. There's a story that we all have to tell. I repeat, there's a story that we all have to tell. And even those self-care, as we're coming back to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
even those self-care routines that we're engaging in. And sometimes it's not just mentally, it's not just spiritually, but sometimes it is physical. It is physically. Sometimes we need a physical makeover. We need to pay attention to our health. Because when we feel good about ourselves, let me tell you, it's like a woman when we're all dressed up. If you're all dressed up and you're putting on a nice shoes, a pair of shoes and all of that, if your hair is not well done for a woman, you feel as if you're not dressed. You feel as if you're not dressed. But you see, once the hair is well done, I can go and refix a outfit and put it on. No one needs to know that is an outfit that I would have remodeled. And so sometimes we need a complete overall. We're fixing bits and pieces. And what we have is a mosaic. But we can do a complete repainting, a complete reshaping and a rephrasing of ourselves. Come back to yourself. That's a clarion call tonight. Come back to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It's about breaking the belief. Rewrite the narrative. Live the story you were born to tell. That's the ultimate goal. Live the story you were born to tell. That's it in a nutshell. We are living the stories of others. And let me tell you, it is a bitter thing when you see others can write stories about us and put all narratives out about us. It's like when you're a trial. Persons need, it is a natural right, it's a natural right, natural justice, that persons be given the opportunity to proffer a defense. No man is found, as it says, you're innocent until you're found guilty. And so many of us, we have been condemned without even withstanding a trial.
Mm-hmm.
And not the literal trial in a courtroom. We may have been tried, convicted, some of us executed. We are just wandering through, just going through life. And we never got up and defend ourselves. And I remember a lecturer saying to us some years ago, she said, listen, there were times that she was laughed and mocked. But you know what? She let her success be her clap back.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
She let our wins be our clap back. And sometimes our response to the negative need to be our new story that we're writing. Put a date on the republishing of your story.
Mm-hmm.
Let there be a reintroduction of yourself. Because for too long, we may have been just going through the trial that, yes, we are convicted. Oh my God, we were tried and convicted without even uttering a word. And let our response be the new story that we're writing. Let your response be the story that you were born to tell. As we come back to ourselves, our true self, our true authentic self. Because as Pastor said, we didn't come here by mistake. We did not come, we were not birthed by mistake. And so there's a purpose that could have only been told through you. Through me being a woman of so much, being a particular height and weight and race, there's a story that God wanted to tell. And when God looked at the story that he wanted to tell, he said, this story has to be birthed on this day, at this time, through this bloodline, this particular race, this particular gender, and that story is me, that story is you. But are we telling our story? Are we telling our story? Or have we grabbed a hold of the stories that may have been written about us? Break the belief. Set yourself free. Remember, the biggest prison that you can ever be in is the prison of your mind. But you can break free because the key is already in your pocket. The key is already in your pocket. Ponder on that for a moment.
So tonight we want you to open up to your true inner voice. That's
That's
how
right.
we're coming back home to you. We are oftentimes familiar with all other voice and have lost our inner voice. I sure if I do a poll tonight and ask authentically what makes many people, what makes you happy, 9 out of 10, many people cannot answer to tell me what makes them happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about temporal happiness. What makes you permanent happy, that trending happiness? What drives you every day? Some people don't
Mm-hmm.
know because all they know is the voices of other externals condition and try to make that applicable to you. Tonight, we want you to come home back to your own inner
That's
voice.
right.
Come back to that once was of your own inner peace, your own inner happiness. Come back to the inner joy. Come back to the little girl in you before it become the woman in you. This thing is simple. Come back to the boy in you before you go to the man in you. Because when I have hit rock bottom in life, attorney, many times.
Mm-hmm.
I've been through different Tata school that want to change the trajectory of the call of the worldview that included me from the onset. But I sometimes go back to the boy in me. That's where I've come from strength. Because I remember the boy in me when I was 7 years old, attorney, going to
Mm-hmm.
Presbyterian church back then. There is my lady named Sarah Crawford to give me $5. That was the green dollar. And she says, son of boy, you're gonna be a great boy someday. Then you had the Pistano son from Philippines. They had a white car, you can run past it. How slow you will
Mm-hmm.
run, but he still come every harvest. And he will give me the purple $10. And he says, son of boy, you're gonna be a great boy one day. I think what 7, 10. I was very small. When I hit those challenges in life, I go back
Right.
boy in me. That's the authentic thing. I can't rely upon the man in me because the man in me get no too many voices. Because when I look to the man in me for solution, I hear, oh, you want to be popular, you want to be famous,
Mm-hmm.
to be you want competition and you want to this and you want and you're speaking to the man in me is putting me in a misunderstood place. But the boy in me at the time of my innocence before I evolved, go back sometimes to the girl in you at that time
That's
of
right.
innocence. And you recognize when you hear you're a champion, you hear you have confidence, you hear you're smart,
Mm-hmm.
here you have potential, and that will develop the woman in you. Attorney, talk to us tonight that somebody can come home to their true self tonight.
That's right. You know, studies would have revealed to us that at age 6, our personality is set, our personality is built. And so when I hear you say, go back to the boy in me, go back to the girl in me, it came to mind. Because sometimes we have to go back to our former, younger days and
Mhm.
pull back. And that's what we were talking about. Go back to your core values, to those lingering
Hold on,
thoughts.
attorney. A scripture that's come to me before you continue. Hold
Uh,
me. The man of God said, David said, I was young. You see, that's why this Bible is not
yeah,
is not no love book in terms of without agape imputing revelation, or it's just an ordinary book. He said, I was young, but now I'm old.
Yes.
He went back to the boy in him to speak to the man in him. Oh, Rontorobo. He went back to the boy in him, attorney. You remember this man is up against a brick wall, against struggle.
Mhm.
And I guess David had no dependency at that time, no support system. Like someone traveled to a country, there's nobody around you in a state, no one around you. Somebody right now, mother is dead, father is dead, and you and then children, husband gone, and you are like a dead end. Or you alone in this world, everybody had died. This week, one man lost his wife and 3 children all one time. That's a brick wall. And the man in you gotta go back to the boy in you. And David said, I was young. I was a young David. You remember when the lion came, there was nobody there. When the deer came, there was nobody there. You killed it with my bare hand. But now I am old. You talking about who? Goliath? You talking about who? But I have never seen the righteous forsaken.
Forsaken.
Never see a
Yeah.
seed go begging bread. Remember, God provide for me. I had to go borrow a gun to kill the lion. I had to go borrow a slingshot to kill the bear. If He give me the strength in my bare hands, why now? Go back sometimes. All of us may not have,
Mhm.
and I'm not insensitive here. All of us may not have pleasant boyhood. Thank you, Holy Ghost. All of us may not have pleasant girlhood. Some people are probably raped at 7 years old. Boys are probably molested at 5, 6, 7 years old. So you don't have much strength to go back to your boy in you to speak to the man in you. But still, without fear of successful contradiction, there still is one thing in the boy in you. There is still the one thing in the girl in you. God always speak authentically. He said, suffer the little children to come unto me. There's something about
Mhm.
boy in you. Even though it may not be favorable, find that one strength that you had at that time
That's it.
to the man in you. So come home, attorney. Help somebody to come home to themselves tonight. We want somebody to come home to let the boy in you speak to the man in you.
And sometimes it is grabbing hold of one voice. For some, it may be one memory. It may not be a whole lot. One strengthening thought. And sometimes when it is that you cannot find it within yourself, or sometimes when it feels as though you have hit a place of inadequacy, this is where your network comes in. And we have some, persons like to say, oh, there's no need to have a role model because I need not model my life after anyone. It's not that sometimes you're emulating what is going on in their lives, but you're using it as a source of inspiration. And sometimes you have to look outward. If it is that you're looking inward and you're saying, you know what, my childhood was not pleasant,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have anything to go and pull deep from. We have been called to edify, and even what we're doing here tonight, we are edifying someone. And the beauty with social media is that we have YouTube, we have TikTok, we have so many outlets that we can go to. And I always say we never come across certain things by chance. Sometimes you're scrolling Facebook, you're just browsing, and God will cause you to come across a story that speak to you in such a profound way. It may not have been your story, but you're inspired and you can say to yourself, and if this person can overcome that, I am motivated. I am encouraged to pick up my sword. If I'm feeling weary and I'm beginning to throw in the towel, listen, I'm going and I'm picking it up again. I am picking up the pen again and I'm beginning to write. I'm continuing to write because, and sometimes what we need to do too is to not hide the ugly parts in our story.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if the mountain was smooth, climbing it would have been near impossible. So we need every crick and every crevice, every sharp cut in the mountain is needed because we would have been unable to climb that mountain. So if your life is like a mountain to you, honey, put on your hiking shoes and begin to hike. You are unwittingly telling a story of resilience, a story of and sometimes you have to look back at your own story too. If you cannot look far back, look at what you would have overcome just last week. Look at what you would have overcome just last month. Look at what you would have endured just last year. And the fact that you are here, look at how far you have come. Sometimes you have to reflect on yourself. And as we say, as you keep moving, you're not running back to what, as the Bible said, do not be like a dog that goes back to its own vomit. Listen, when you pick yourself up and you would have dust yourself off, do not go back to your own vomit. And if you would have thrown your pearls to swine, endeavor tonight to take them back. Take back your prized possession. Take back your pearls. Take back your jewels. It is yours, and it is all part of your story. The ugliest part of your story, that may be the part that is so profound that someone hearing it, it can bring 10 persons on the path of realignment. You just have to find how do I tell it? How do I tell my story? And sometimes just living it. You know, many of us persons who we sometimes do not tell that, you know what, you inspire me. Because sometimes when you look at maybe some aunts or even some mothers in the church, some women in your community, and you look at what they would have gone through, sometimes without going to them, when you encounter some difficulties, thoughts of them, you know, come to mind. And you're wondering, you know, the fact that they keep standing, it speaks to their strength. And if Sister So could have gone through that, listen, I can go through it. I can withstand the fire too. I can withstand the fire.
An attorney, as we get in close to program time, I want you to speak to the coming back home now to me, how they can start celebrating small wins. Talk to us tonight.
Mm.
They can start baby steps and making small wins and so on towards the big grand finale when they finally come back to the holistic self. You know, if you say, I get back myself, I feel me real me now,
Uh-huh.
you know? So help us celebrate the little wins tonight.
Take your roar back. You know, sometimes we tend to wait until we get to the destination. And we're not taking time to celebrate the journey itself.
Mhm.
But what you find happening is every time you get to a destination, you're looking for a new fix, because your fixation is only on the destination and not the journey. And sometimes it is about running your race at your own pace.
Yes.
In your lane, manifesting your own lane, and do not get caught in the conundrum of comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Do not, when you're looking at someone else's story, it is to inspire you. It is not to foster competition. It's not for you to be comparing, because listen to me, there will always be someone smarter than you. There'll always be someone prettier than you. There'll always be someone more articulate than you. There'll always be someone with more money than you. So your measuring of your value is not outward, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because so and so is driving a big car and I do not have it, then I'm less of myself. It's not because you would have written 13 subjects, CXC, you did so well, and all I have is maybe 6. And maybe my 6 for some persons, you may have attained your 6 at 2 sittings. And you're looking at someone and they wrote 26 in one sitting and all grade ones. And then you're thinking to yourself, no, it's about running your race at your own pace. It's about not engaging in competition and comparison. When I'm looking at someone else's story, it is to edify me. It is to motivate me. It is to encourage me. And take time to enjoy and savor the journey, the good and the bad. As you take on the disposition to reframe failures, because you're going to encourage failures. Like the song said, God didn't promise us a life where there'll be no sun, there'll be only sunshine. He didn't promise us that there'll be no rain.
Mm-hmm.
The song said, pick up all the shattered piece of your life, and at the feet of Jesus lay them all. We need to have a strength, because our strength will fail us. And we need to have the strength that we are relying on, which is more than ourselves, which is God, which is the Holy Spirit. And let me tell you, the Holy Spirit leads us in all truth.
Mm-hmm.
And reliance on the Holy Spirit and not too much on yourself. Like I was telling someone the other day, I learned, I encountered, or I was reminded, rudely reminded of the trap of being overconfident. Being overconfident. And even when you're rewriting your story, take heed that you are not relying so much on yourself, that there's not a super reliance on your human strength, on your intellect, your intelligence, because it is going to fail you. But you have a source that you can tap into. That God says His grace is more than sufficient for us. That even in times of weakness, God will strengthen us. And so sometimes when we look at persons, when it seems as though all is going crazy in their life, and we want to know what's their secret, is that they are trusting in God. Because sometimes I don't know what I am doing, but as Holy Spirit speak, as Holy Spirit directs, I am taking directions. Listen, if I had to figure it out all by myself, oh, so it's relying on God and not keeping God out of the equation. Not keep, and I know I've been talking a lot, but I do hope that what I'm saying is taking root. It's taking root, and I do love that it's alive, that persons can always come back to the life because we're dropping nuggets. Come back to the lives. All right,
So,
and so as
so tonight we trust as we take you through the minutia of life, the different aspects and facets of lives of struggles, life journeys, and we help you to understand. And I love what you said along going towards the hemming of the program tonight when you said that the mountain, if it were smooth, it would have difficult to climb. Life never meant from the onset to be very much easy because the greatest thing that God has given to man is the power of choice. And this is Seonanize. This is not the word said. Let me make that clear. Disclaimer 101. This is Seonanize, not the word says it, but from the word. So let me contemporize what I'm saying tonight. So nobody misinterpret that I am preaching or saying anything of a heresy nature. When John 11:35 says Jesus wept, I believe, there it goes now, that Jesus wept at the choice that he gave to man that he can take back. Because man is given the greatest latitude. And when you look all of you done and the choices man that make, and every choices have a consequences. Because you cannot pull back that choice from under the rug of Adam. Even though you see Eve make that choice, Adam didn't eat yet. He could have intercept. But then what would have happened? He gonna lay a charge to himself, and therefore you cannot go against his worthy honor above his name. So what he had to do, he had to weep at the greatest thing he gave to man, and the first man he can go and intercept his choice. So tonight, your choices that we make
that's right.
bring certain consequences that we face. But we want you to come back home to you. Forget about those bad choices, those failures, and those things are stepping stone that you get up to the mountain. Those rough patches. I didn't get it good, and I didn't expect to get it good. I expect to get a tight and a rough riding because the journey is getting more tougher. The world is not getting better. You ain't getting back dollar gas coming no more. The days is far gone. You see what I'm saying? You're not gonna get free nothing from university, from tertiary to university. Those days are gone. You understand? understand? You're not gonna get people coming and just you don't even find $5 on the road no more. People get $5 and in their pocket all the time. It's not the leg the pants pocket, they're holding on to their money. You see, times are not gonna get easy. You know what I'm saying? Because these are what life comes with. You understand? So what we helping you to understand tonight, come back home to the inner you, that when the road gets
Mhm.
rough and it get tough, the inner you gonna help you to climb, to climb.
That's
I
right.
know that attorneys, what? Failure is not final.
It's not.
So in closing tonight, we trust that we help you to just simply come back home to you.
Mhm.
Don't come back to mommy and daddy and everybody else. Come back home to just you. Come back home to you. You know what you really mean to you. Many people
Mhm.
are scared of coming back home to them because they cannot get over that trauma hurdle. We're not insensitive to what caused the trauma.
Not at
But
all.
we
Mhm.
still need to come back home to you. We cannot tell you the time, we cannot tell you the how, because that will be wrong in breaking mental intelligence. We cannot tell you how to end your grief cycle. That is breaking emotional intelligence also. But if you does not break those cycles and stay there longer, you can never come
As
back
I
home. You,
expected. That's right.
Attorney, I want you to whatever you want to say to somebody tonight. Another 2 minutes, and then we're gonna close.
I want to reiterate as we are giving ourselves permission to effect this new self fulfilling prophecy. Remember what we talked about? It is about having the belief or the expectation that gives rise to our action, and our action in turn gave rise to our new outcome, and our new outcome create our new reality. So as we are breaking the limiting beliefs, these negative beliefs, and we are endeavoring to hit and to break glass ceilings, ensure that we're taking our belief system is changing the power of our perception. We are having a renewed and a transformed mind that will ultimately influence our action, and our action will like ultimately influence our new outcome, hence our new reality. Can we do it? Yes, we can.
And welcome you
Yes,
to
we
your new
can.
normal. You are now
That's right.
ready for graduation in the
That's right.
distance order, enjoying your new normal. With that being said, have a great and productive night. Competing with no one else than competing with yourself to be the best version of who God has called it to be.
That's right.
Tomorrow night, same place, same time. Attorney, can you stay back with us a few seconds?
Will do. Will do.